Welcome to episode number 61. Today, I'm going to talk about education. I'm going to talk about college and my 2 cents when it comes to going to college or not. Stay tuned. So the big question is, how do ambitious people like us, who grew up listening to the old advice of go to school, work hard for 40 years, and retire when you're old, create a life today that is meaningful, abundant, healthy, and brings joy, while also leading a life that is productive and full of achievement? That is the question, and this is the podcast that will help give you the answers that you're searching for. My name is Del Denny, and welcome to the Upgrade Your Life podcast. Welcome to the Upgrade Your Life podcast. And today I want to talk about college. I want to talk about education. Now, there's a really good quote that I love by Mark Twain. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. And he said, "Never let schooling interfere with your education." And what does that actually mean? I get this question all the time, usually from my younger folk, my people coming out of high school or are about ready to get into college. They have all these questions of, should I go to college? I really want to be an entrepreneur, but should I do this? I have all this pressure from my family to go to college. What should I do? Now, I'm never going to tell anybody not to go to college. I'm not going to tell you to go to college. That is entirely up to you. But I will share my experiences with college. For me, I never completed college. I took a couple classes. That was about it. And I ended up become an entrepreneur. I jumped into the business world. And early on, it's nice to say I made some really good money. And because I made really good money, it took my direction somewhere else. And I realized I didn't want to go to school because I had this income coming in. And so as I started getting older and as I started looking back, at first I started kind of regretting not going to college because, it would have been nice to have that diploma. It would have been nice, so to speak, to fall back on, with that certificate there. But then as I got even older, I realized that, hey, it's actually a good thing I didn't go, because as I started looking at my peers, everybody was so deep into debt. They had just student loan debts that were just so crazy. And that's one of my real big hangups with colleges, is the inflation that comes with student loans. I read a book the other day by John Maxwell called The Leader Shift, and he was just saying in his book that 4 years, I believe it was 4 years from the time you graduate, your diploma is pretty much gone anyways, because you're going to have to learn new skills. So whatever you learn in college doesn't really matter. And it's just absolutely crazy because people are spending $50,000 a year in student loans to get a $30,000 a year job or a $45,000 a year job. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Now, another thing, my little hang up with colleges is this. It's the mentality that we have when we finish college. A lot of people, again, let school interfere with their education. The problem with getting a diploma is most people, I'm not saying anyone on this podcast, but most people, when they finish their schooling, they stop their schooling from there. They stop their education. They just feel, hey, I've got my certificate. I'm good to go. I'm good to coast for the rest of my life. People don't pick up a book again. People don't listen to an audiobook. People don't continue classes after that. And that is such a huge problem. We always want to continue our education. So looking back for me and myself, I realized that one of the greatest blessings I had was not going to school, because I continue to educate myself. As you've listened to the podcast, you've heard me talk about how I read a book a week. I always continue my education. Whenever there is a subject that I want to learn more about, I don't know about, I pick up a book, I take a class, I take a training, I go to a seminar. And it's been one of the biggest blessings for me, because it's allowed my skill sets to remain relevant, to remain current. And so as things happen, I'm right there, Johnny on the spot with the answer. And so I want to encourage everyone that's listening to the podcast is to continue your education. whatever it may be, whether it's picking up a book, whether it's taking an online course, whether it's attending a virtual seminar, whatever it is, keep on educating yourself. There's too many people that have let their schooling interfere with their education. They feel that they're done with their schooling, therefore they stop their education. That's not us. And I'm going to probably say I'm speaking to the choir here, since you're listening to the Upgrade Your Life podcast. You already want to make the most out of your life, and that's why you're listening to this today. But nonetheless, my friends, that's my challenge for you guys here today, is to continue your education. Go out there, buy a book today. Go out there, purchase an online class, or take or watch a YouTube video. You don't have to purchase something to get an education. You can go to the library, whatever it may be. Just continue to fill your mind and become the best version of yourself. So that's it, my friends. This is Del Denny signing off. Remember, learn, lead, and live to your full potential.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes to get automatic episode updates for the Upgrade Your Life podcast. And finally, please take a minute to leave us an honest review and rating on iTunes. Your feedback really helps us out when it comes to the ranking of the show, and I make it a point to read every single one of the reviews that we get. So thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me on the Upgrade Your Life podcast. Have a great day.